Michelle getting distracted. So you can put any of the questions that you have for me in the Q&A. I'll try and answer it as I go along. Tonight, if you want to be coached, so I love to bring people up and coach in real time so you guys can get support with exactly what you might be struggling with now. All you have to do is go on the bottom there and you'll see a raise hand button. You want to raise your hand if you want to be coached tonight. To be coached tonight, you want to make sure that you have good internet. You want to make sure you're in a quiet place to receive coaching. You want to make sure that you're not driving. You want to make sure you're not distracted, and you can show us your beautiful face. So if you are interested in getting coached today, you can raise your hand. I'm going to be doing that at the end of the presentation. I already see some hands raised. That's fabulous. And if you are shy, use the Q&A. I'm going to go through that. I'm going to go through that one by one. Yeah, if your camera is off, ideally we want your camera on for for coaching live, but just raise your hand. I'm going to try and coach a lot of people tonight. I'm really going to go through the material. I want to go through it in a very efficient way so that we can actually help as many people as possible tonight. And you guys, as a free gift for signing up tonight and joining us, you're going to get two things. You're going to get a copy of all the slides that I'm going to go through tonight. So even though I'm going to be very efficient in going through them, you'll be able to have them at your leisure. And you'll also get a copy of this. This is my toilet training data sheet. If you didn't get my Potty Pocket Guide, this is the last page of my Potty Pocket Guide. It's going to help you to collect data, which if you don't already know, or if you're new to the autism world, data is king. It's going to help you not just with the tactical steps of potty training your baby, but it's also going to help you with a lot of the mental checkpoints that we need to, get past, like the things I think and what the data actually says. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight too. But anyway, okay, so let's just hop right into it because we got a lot to cover. I'm going to share my screen. Hold on one second here. Get this right up. I'm going to put the Q&A right there so I don't get distracted. All right, perfect. So Kim, can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so everybody, welcome. This is Potty Power Hour. Let's get cracking. All right, you are in the right place for Potty Power Hour. If you have a child with autism or suspect they have autism and they need to potty train, let me just move this out of the way so I don't get distracted. They are mild, moderate, or severe on the spectrum. You're in the right place. If your child is verbal or pre-verbal, you are in the right place. If they have multiple diagnoses, you've tried and failed many times at potty training. I'm sure I'm going to speak to a lot of you tonight that have tried and failed many times at potty training. I got you. And not only are we going to talk about how we can make potty training possible for any circumstance on this list, but I want to make it easy and I want to make it fun. Potty training is one of those things that I could make. I used to describe it as the worst part of parenting. And that's the exact result I got when I potty trained my daughter at first. It was the worst fucking nightmare experience. That's what I got. But I could also look at potty training as precious as teaching her how to ride a bike or brush her hair. It's my thoughts about it that create the experience that we actually produce. And we're going to talk a lot about mindset tonight. That's going to be a big part of it. So, okay, so everybody, let's just dive in. So I wanted to give you a quick snapshot of our story. So if you don't know, I have a daughter, Juliana. She was diagnosed on the spectrum when she was 2 years old. She had language and lost it. We ended up having to teach her sign language. We ended up potty training with a sign. And then she started to make sounds, started to say words, speaking. She went from the most restrictive preschool environment to where she is today, where you probably wouldn't even know she has autism if I didn't tell you. And instead of me just trying to go through all of the steps that got us here today, we created a video and I want to share it with you. Oh, before the video, we're going to go over the agenda. The agenda today we're going to talk about is my video. We're going to do the big three. So this is my philosophy for children on the spectrum. I believe all children on the spectrum need 3 skills for a life of independence. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the potty myths and a potty cliff notes, everything that you're going to need to potty train your child. Again, like I said, in my program, we have a 100% success rate for potty training. It is also the #1 reason parents hire me. And I love it. I love it as an entry point because either you're shitting your pants or you're shitting in the toilet. There's no in between. And I'm going to share everything that I do in the masterclass with you guys tonight. We're going to talk about potty mindset. If you walk away with anything tonight, we want to start thinking about how this is operating in your life. Then we're going to give you a little information about the masterclass. If you love what you hear tonight and you want more Michelle, you can be a part of our masterclass. So I'll share that with you as well. Then we're going to do a giveaway for anyone who stays until the start of Q&A. We're going to do a wheel of names and we're going to give away a private session away with myself. And then we're going to get into Q&A. All right, now here's that video I was telling you all about. I remember when I got pregnant with my daughter, I felt so grateful and so blessed. I mean, my life up until that point had been pretty rocky. I'd had a lot of bumps and bruises along the way, and I finally thought that I was turning a corner and God was blessing me with this beautiful gift of a child. And I just, yes, finally something was going my way. And then she was born, she was just absolutely perfect. I had all of these dreams and expectations for her. I thought of all the things that I thought she was going to do. Yeah, good girl. Right after her first birthday, I started to notice her behavior changes. She went from, saying that. She was obsessed with Dora the Explorer, Mama, Dada. She was saying it all. The girl saying that. Hit all of her milestones up to that point. She walked at 1. She was eating solid. She just, she looked really good. And then I just remember her, it felt almost overnight or very quickly where her demeanor just changed. She went from this super happy baby to crying and tantrum, just frustrated all the time. I remember saying to my mom one day during one of these tantrums, like, where did my happy baby go? But I didn't think anything past it. I think I was kind of not ready to fathom that something could be off, even though maybe the telltale signs were there. You gotta get dressed. You gotta get dressed, honey. Time to get dressed. She started to lose the words that she had gained. She wasn't saying mama anymore. She wasn't saying ma'am. She just seemed really disconnected from us. Instead of playing with her toys, she would take them, dump them all out of her toy box, and just start twisting them around her hands aimlessly with no intended purpose. Was really kind of in denial about it. And then I remember one day we were in the middle of the store, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she just started screaming and yelling like somebody had slapped her. I don't even know what the problem was, and I was so mortified. I didn't even know what to do. I was so scared. I literally just left the half-full cart in the store, picked her up, and just ran out of there. Never went to that store again. I just didn't even know what to think. And that was probably the first time it really kind of stung for me that maybe something is wrong. They diagnosed her. They didn't diagnose her right away. They said that she was too young for a diagnosis. I didn't even know what they meant when they said that. I was diagnosed with what? I just had no idea what they were talking about. And then they said, we'll come back in if you're not seeing progress. And I said, okay, and a couple months later, I'm watching these speech therapists play with her on the floor. I'm not seeing any progress and felt like she was getting a little worse. And then we went for our 2-year-old wellness visit. And the doctor said that she was behind if she wasn't using 20 words with intent. And that was probably just a knife to my heart at that point. I really couldn't deny that something was up with her anymore. So then I called the county back in, and she was diagnosed on the spectrum. And I remember that day, and it was worst days of my life. It was my darkest hour. I could easily say that as a mother, as a woman, as just a human being, it was probably one of the hardest times I had ever gone through. And I remember just I went from being so happy with God, so thankful, to being so pissed at him for doing this to her and wrecking this beautiful gift he had given me. And for a while there, I struggled. I struggled to figure out what this meant, or what we were going to do, or how this was going to define her. All those dreams I had for her future were just completely shattered. And I had no idea what was going to happen next. And I went from just hopeful to just complete blank when I thought about the future.
one night I was thinking, I'm going to die one day, and who's going to care for her when I'm gone? And something about that thought just snapped me out of my depression and my anger and my fear and said, listen, we got to get to work here. I promised that when she was born, I was going to be the best mother I could be to her. And that promise hasn't changed. In fact, she needs me more now than ever, not less. She needs me now more than ever. And I didn't know at the time what we were capable of, or what having those changes, that mindset shift for me was going to do. But I wanted to know that at the end of every night, I could look myself in the mirror with confidence and say, did you do everything you could, Michelle, to give her the best possible life? And if the answer was yes, then that was a good day. And I wanted the answer to be yes, 100%. And no matter where the cards fell, I know I could leave this earth saying I gave her everything I had, no regrets. And as I've navigated this world with her and walked away that day after having that thought, I really just grabbed the bull by the horns. I became her fiercest advocate. I'm not a special education master's degree teacher. I don't know I never had any formal training in APA, but I knew that I was going to learn whatever I needed to learn to be really strong for her. And Juliana lost all of her language. Cheerios? You want Cheerios? They want Cheerios. Okay. She was nonverbal when she was diagnosed. Should we wait one? Okay. What's up? We taught her sign language. Show me. Juliana, show me. Good girl. Then she went from sign language to word approximations. Then she started to speak. She went from the most restrictive preschool environment. She was in a 6.4, most restrictive preschool, special education preschool environment it could be. To now, where she is almost 8 years old. She's in a second grade class in a gen ed school, integrated class with typical peers. She speaks beautifully now. What did you like about the school? She has a personality. She has conversation skills. There's still things that we need to work on, but for the most part, her future went from black to now having possibilities. And none of that could have happened had I not kind of gotten out of my own way and really hit the ground running and started to take action for her. And I can't say that I can do that for every parent I coach, but what I can tell them is I will have them feeling like I did, looking myself in the mirror, you looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, I was everything I could be for her today. I have no regrets. And whatever happens, happens. It's really for us as parents to know we fulfilled the duty that we promised when we had these children. It's to be the best versions of ourselves, to live, to raise these children, and helping out hundreds of mothers, coach them one-on-one to do the same things I did, to help them to be strong, to help them to create plans where we're seeing constant progress. This is what I want to do. I want to give you the chance that Juliana's had. I want to give you every opportunity to give your child that kind of
Today is a day so happy. And because I hope you remember. Happy birthday, love you.
Hi. All right. Let's get cracking. Oh, not that again. All right, here we go. So I'm getting a lot of Q&A questions. Just keep them coming. I'm going to try and answer them as I go in between the slides. If you do want to be coached tonight, you just have to raise your hand. Okay. So what I want to start off tonight talking about is the big three. And this is a philosophy I have, and this is how I it's the motto of my program. And that is basically that every child on the spectrum needs 3 life skills. I call them the foundational skills to have a chance at an independent life. And I've yet to see a child who can have these 3 skills and in fluency not be able to have that outcome. And the first one is to be able to communicate. And I'm not necessarily talking about the verbal word, but I am just talking about basic communication skills. The second one is problem behaviors at 0 or close to 0. We want to be able to not have issues with disruptive behavior so they can sit and learn, attend at school. And the third one is potty training, which you guys all came for tonight. And I just have to start with our little disclaimer that the information I'm going to share tonight is not intended to serve as a substitute for consultation with a medical or behavioral professional. Only qualified professionals who know and work with your child on an ongoing basis can adequately assess and supervise a child's program. I always recommend including a BCBA or a child on a child's client or child or client's team. This is especially important if a child is in danger of hurting themselves or others. So I am not a doctor. These are just my suggestions and recommendations. You want to run anything I tell you tonight by your doctor and your therapist, your BCBAs before implementing. Okay, so now the first thing I want to talk about tonight are the most common potty thought errors. And I call them potty myths because potty myths are really just thoughts that we think. And when we think them over and over and over again, we start to think of them as like fact. And I'm calling them potty myths because we're going to bust them tonight. And the first potty myth that you guys will come to me with is that you believe that your child needs to be verbal to potty train. Child does not need to be verbal to potty train. We're going to talk more on that. The second myth you'll come to me is that the child can't potty train if they're severe on the spectrum. Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe. Okay. Another myth you'll have is that a child can't be potty trained if they won't sit on the potty. Okay, or they won't follow instructions and they're running around the room. Another myth you'll have is a child doesn't care if they're dirty, so you can't potty train them. Another myth you also might have is that you can't potty train a child who's just not interested in going. And then another myth is the child will hold their pee or poop for hours until a pull-up is put back on, so they're never going to learn to go because they can just hold it forever. Okay? And what I want to do tonight, if I can do anything for you, the mindset part of this is going to be the most important part of tonight, but I want to start looking at these thoughts that you're thinking and kind of telling and kind of disproving the beliefs that you've had probably over years of dealing with a child in diapers. And you might be thinking, if they can't talk now, how will they tell me when they need to go? Or if they can't talk, how will they understand the instructions, the step-by-step instructions that it takes to go potty? And you may start doubting yourself. You're wondering if you don't have the skills, you don't have the personal skills or education to teach a child with autism, to teach a nonverbal child with autism, to teach a severely autistic child how to potty train. And then you might also just be in the process of doing this, ignoring the potty readiness signs. And then the action you might be taking because you've been thinking these kinds of things over and over and over again is you're not doing anything. You're believing potty training is impossible. You might be half-assing it. You may be trying, but not really trying, giving up, you're quitting multiple times because you feel like you have every excuse in the book that autism gives us to not want to continue to potty train. You might be leaning on the school to do this for you. Hey, right? It makes sense. They're the professionals. Let them potty train this kid because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything about autism. You went to school for this. You deal with children with autism. You deal with children with special needs. Why aren't you getting this done? And by the way, just to myth bust this one right out of the gate. Very rarely do I ever see a school full on potty train your child. You're focusing on verbal language first because you have that belief, right? That hey, if my child can't speak, then they can't potty train. So let me work on this first. But if you're also thinking all those other shitty things that I listed, like, severe on the spectrum makes this hard to potty training. Autism is a problem that makes this hard to potty training. They don't follow instructions. They won't sit. You're going to be going in with the same core principles in your head that you believe are fact. And you're going to get the same outcome with trying to work on verbal language first. Now, I don't care if you work on verbal language first. In fact, I actually worked on communication, which we're going to talk about the difference of that between the two tonight, but not because she was just, in my mind, not ready to potty train first. But if you're believing that you're going to go tackle communication when you already have all these shitty thoughts about autism, you're going to get the same result as you did if you half-assed trying potty training too. And the results, right? If you're right now, if you've been doing this for, if you've been, I'm assuming if you're here, either it's going to be your first time potty training, and I love that. You're like a piece of clay I'm going to mold and teach you exactly how to potty train your child effectively tonight. But if you've been here and you've been around the block and you've tried this over and over and over again in the ways that I've just shown in these slides, the result is exactly probably why you're here tonight. The number one problem parents come to me with unsolved. Your result right now is your child is still in diapers. You might be feeling like a failure as a parent and that nothing is going to change for your child. And the lack of result here spills over to other areas. Next thing you know, the child's still not communicating. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? We're still having tantrums. They're starting to get more aggressive. Now they're eloping. Now we see excess stimming. Now they're picky eating. See how like one kind of just snowballs into another problem, and then we have even more life skills unsolved for. The steps to potty training any child are the same. Now, I just said that on purpose, any child. The way I taught my pre-verbal daughter how to potty train is the same exact way I taught my neurotypical son. It's all about the actions, and it has nothing to do with verbal language. Being verbal and being able to communicate are not the same. So I want to talk about instances where I'm sure I'm going to coach somebody tonight where they're going to think that their child doesn't understand anything they say. And I'll say to parents, okay, tell yourself, if you believe that about your child, then what's the outcome for anything that you want to teach them? And is that really true? Could we find instances where they understand everything we're saying and they're like all children and have selective hearing and only want to respond to the things that are of high value to them? Could that be what it is? But you might be assuming that communication, which is really just an understanding of back and forth, doesn't have to be verbal, and it's a good thing. It can be gestural, it can be behavioral, right? Thinking about a child's tantrum, that's a form of communication. They get their wants and needs met with that, and we let them do that because of autism, then they're never going to talk. You see what I'm saying? There's no desire for them to talk. And we're going to talk about, and that same desire applies to learning a new life skill like potty training. If I don't have the desire to pee or poop on the potty, I'm just going to shit my pants. And if you're going to give me an excuse because you think I have autism and I can't learn because I'm autistic and I'm severe on the spectrum and I'm nonverbal, then that's exactly what you're going to get. So that's really what I want you guys to leave with tonight. So what I tell my parents is we always presume confidence. If you're not sure, if you're on the fence, I guarantee if you raise your hand, I'm gonna show you how you're wrong about this. We're gonna find an example in your life. This child understands what you say and is just selective in what they want to respond to. But if you are unsure, I always tell parents, go into any process presuming confidence. Our thoughts have to be in alignment with our thoughts have to be in alignment with the results we want for potty training. And this is Mary. When I started working with Mary, her son was 7 and he was pre-verbal and in diapers. Within 2 weeks of working with us, he was fully potty trained, and within a month of working together, he said mama for the first time. He was 7 years old, pre-verbal. Within a month, we were able to get these results for him. This is possible for all children. That's why it doesn't matter where they are on the spectrum. Behavior never lies. And here are the actual steps for potty training. First thing we want to know is, are they showing potty readiness signs? That means waking up dry, pulling off a dirty diaper, telling you, hey, here's my pull-up, I need to be changed, right? I want a new diaper, right? These are the signs. You only need one of them to show potty readiness. They wake up dry, they take the diaper off. If they're dirty, they're playing with their poop, meaning like playing with their poop is like they take it out of their pants and drop it on the floor because they don't like the way it feels in their diaper. These are all signs, and you only need one of them. They're interested when you go to the bathroom. These are all the examples of potty readiness. The second thing you need is they need to be free of gastro issues such as loose stool and diarrhea. Those are my main problems that I want to make sure that I've solved for first before that we actually potty train. And we also want to make sure they don't have painful constipation. Now, I'm not talking about constipation where they're holding their poop for like 3 or 5 days. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the poops that are like behaviorally changing them, that are causing them major pain, that may need medical intervention. Those are the types of constipation I'm talking about. It's actually quite normal for children that are potty trained who didn't have constipation before to have constipation when you potty train. They are deliberately withholding. That's not a reason to not potty train. But if they have loose stool and diarrhea, we have to fix that first before we can get into potty train. The next thing we need is they need to be willing to sit on the potty. So a lot of you guys will just like quit before the job's begun because you're like, oh shit, you know, fuck, they won't even sit. They'll just run around. I'm not going to potty train, but how can I do it? He won't even sit. And I get that. So why, instead of looking at like the whole process of potty training and just quitting right there on the spot, what if we start to practice instructional control with our children and just get them to sit? Even if it means sitting with pants on first and then pants off. So like for an example of this, it could be something as easy as like, okay, if you sit for 10 seconds, right? Let's say you take some baseline, you ask the child to sit, they sit for 10 seconds and they pop back up. Then you get your phone out and say, okay, if you'll sit for 15 seconds, you don't have to tell them that. You just say, you sit till this timer goes off, I'm going to give you a sticker. I always say I like to give them a reward that's 10 times the ask. And if I'm just asking them to sit, they probably sit every day. They probably sit on a chair, sit on a couch, sit on their bed, sit on the ground. All we're asking is for sitting. We want to give them a little reward for doing it. And each time we ask them to sit, we're going to increase that time up until about 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to happen. I'll get this a lot with boys, right? That boys are pee trained, but they're not poop trained. And I'll say, does he sit to pee? And they'll say no. And I say, well, that's your problem, because he hasn't had enough practice. He doesn't feel comfortable. It's a foreign experience for him. And guess what? It's a foreign experience for any child to sit on the potty. So that's why we, even with a neurotypical child, we'll just bring out the potty even when they're not ready, just to get them comfortable, get them used to the idea of sitting on it, right? That's the same principles that apply for children with autism. Nothing's changed here. So in this instance, you may have tried a lot of times holding them down, or you may have had these preconceived notions about like, well, they won't sit and they run around. Well, this is your chance, right? Because we can't have them running around and stimming if we want them to have an independent life. Let's start with some instructional control. Let's get them sitting on the potty first. You get them up to 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can start full on potty training. The next thing we need is they need to be motivated to go. So I'll get this a lot. They don't care if they're dirty, and they don't, right? Two of the myths that we talked about earlier. They don't care if they're dirty, and they're not interested in potty training. Guess what? Most babies in diapers could give a shit about a dirty diaper. And they could also give a shit about learning a new way, especially if it's optional. If you make potty training optional in your home, then this is what happens for any child. That's why, again, the rules for potty training are very similar to for teaching a neurotypical child with a child with autism. I want to create an environment where they want to go. And that would be rewards. Now, the reward, I always say, for the reward of elimination, I want it to be something so fabulous. It's got to be like a 10 on the Richter scale. They have to be willing to do anything to have access to it. That's what's got to be the reward. They have to be able to get it immediately. It could be something they stim on. It could be an experience. We had a mom that blew up a pool in the backyard because it's summer, right? Perfect time to potty train. I always say every time of year is the perfect time. Perfect time to potty train at Christmas. Perfect time to potty train in the spring. Perfect time to potty train in the summer. She used to blow up a pool, fill it up every time he went pee, got to play in it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then she'd dump it out. And the next time he went again, they went through the whole process. Balloons, iPads. Oh my gosh, how many kids in here love their iPhones or their iPads? It's got to be something that they do anything to have access to. This is the key. And I'm going to have parents that are going to come to me and say either one of two things. Either there's so many things that their kids like, they don't know what they're going to be, you know, what would be a 10, or they're going to say that there's nothing that motivates their child. These are thought errors. And we're going to talk more about thought errors tonight. The next thing you need is a schedule to go. So I talk about an intensive where basically you're going to use your toilet training data sheet that you're going to get tonight. You're going to, in the next 5 days, you're going to see when they're dry, when they're wet, when they have a bowel movement. And then you're going to say, okay, it looks like they can hold it every 30 minutes. They can hold it every hour. And then you're going to set a schedule, and you are going to do a potty intensive. That means that you're going to go in a room attached to a bathroom. You're going to make a decision if they're going to be in a potty seat or a potty chair, and they're going to eliminate, right? And you're going to take them 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. I'd say for any child 5 and under, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. And then anybody older, I'd say look at your data, and you could maybe even go like 5 minutes on and 20 minutes off. It really depends on the child. So you need a schedule to go. After that, we need to be committed. Guess what, guys? There are no diapers or pull-ups when we are potty training. The only exception I make for this is if they are still need to be potty trained for sleep training and for naps. Meaning that as soon as it's put on, as soon as they wake up, it's swiftly taken off and they're taken to the bathroom. And that's temporary, very temporary point. If we're committing to potty training, we're not dipping our toe in the potty pool. We're doing full submersion. And I know some of you say, well, my kids will hold it so long. My kid will hold it so long. My son was 7 years old. He's 8 now, but he's 7 years old. And numerous times he would get up, eat breakfast, get dressed, go to school, come home and pee for the first time. A lot of you have this thought like they're going to, their bladders are just going to explode. That's not going to happen. They're going to have an accident. So the idea here is let them have an accident that isn't comfortable in their underwear and their pants, that they got to stop what they're doing and clean up. And everyone's going to remember you got this reward waiting for you if you do it in the right spot. Right? But if I make it comfortable to shit and piss my pants because I have this fear that a bladder is going to miraculously explode somewhere instead of what would happen to you and me, which means that we just wet ourselves, then this will never get done. So we have to be committed. We are done with diapers. Once we start our potty training intensive, we are not going back to diapers. I don't care if you have to buy 100 pairs of underwear. You are committed to this. What if it's the last 100 pair of underwear you needed to buy? You'd be buying it. I need you to start thinking that way when you're doing this. Then we need a lot of reps in going, right? So that's a part of the potty training, right? When I do an intensive, I'll tell parents to do like a 3 days where they're locked in a room, 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off. Usually a nice long weekend will do it. And you're going to get a lot of reps. You're going to give that kid a lot of salty snacks. You're going to run them around the room so they're drinking a lot. They can have anything they want. You want to fly them with drinks about like a cup an hour. I think it was like, about a cup an hour or 4 to 8 ounces an hour. 4 to 8 ounces an hour of drinks so that they're constantly needing to go pee. And it's common to get pee first and poop later because you're getting more reps with pee. But this is the thing, for it to be like you and me going, like if I'm in the middle of this presentation, I'm just like, oh, excuse me, guys, I got to run to the bathroom. I felt nature call for 40 something years. Your children are just learning. So we have to give them a lot of reps to get it right. Okay. The next thing we need is they need to be reminded of when to go. And this goes for all children. A lot of you guys will shit on this part. Yeah. I finally got it where they understand pee and poop go here, but I have to tell them when to go. Guess what? I still tell my kids when to go. All right, guys, we're going to the restaurant. I want you to go in the bathroom. Let's make sure we all go before we leave. Oh, I don't have to go. No, I want you to try. Right. But again, I've had years and years and years of experience. You've had years and years and years of experience of using the bathroom. They need to be reminded at first. And then what happens is once we start to get some really good progress, really good momentum, we can start widening the window of telling them when to go. And during this whole process, by the way, rewards are given. And then number 9 is they tell us when they have to go or they go on their own and they're using the potty 100% independently. This is the potty cliff notes slide. This is exactly what you need to potty train your child. But you cannot potty train your child unless you have this, which is the parent mindset. And we're going to talk about that tonight. This is the number one reason why everyone who here is struggling with potty training and does not have the potty training result. And this is from a movie from The Matrix. It's about 20 something years ago. And this was a little child in the movie who was looking like he was holding a spoon and it looked like he was bending it with his mind. And he tells us not to try and bend the spoon, that it's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth, that there is no spoon. Then you'll see that it's not the spoon that bends, it's only yourself. Love it, right? I can't control that autism is here, but I have full control over what I think about it. Meaning if I believe I can change the thoughts I think about autism, meaning if I can change the thoughts I think about myself and my child with autism, I can change the outcome for my baby and our reality. So I just went over all the tactical steps for potty training. I bet all of you knew them, right? Or you'd heard them in some form or flavor or whatever. But the reason why it's not working is because we have a belief that autism and all of the things, the myths that we believe that go with autism is what's making this impossible. I have to start thinking different thoughts to get a different result. And one of the things that I thought way before I was a mother is that I'm a person that could be the exception to the rule. So how did this happen, right? We have life experiences that build the character of who we are today. You see a nut here right now who curses a lot. I'm not going to apologize. It's just who I am. I'm passionate. If you got a problem with cursing, then I ain't your gal, right? But I curse a lot. I'm passionate. And one of the things I've believed about myself for years and years and years is that I could be an exception to the rule. And I had to reverse engineer, like, where did I come up with that? I wasn't born this wacko. This wacko was created. And one of the things that happened to me when I was a child up until middle school, I was bullied nonstop. Every day I'd come home crying. Every day I visualized, like, why are people letting this happen to me? It was out in the wide open. Teachers could see it. Adults could see it. Why isn't somebody coming in to swoop me out my feet and save me? And I just kept thinking this over and over and over again for years. And I just envisioned like some hero coming in and just saying, no, you can't talk to her like this anymore. You can't treat her like this anymore. This is wrong. You can't do this to people. And just taking me out of my pain. And then something happened in middle school. I encountered that same old bully I'd had for years and years and years, and I snapped. And something in that moment said to me, no one is coming. It has to be you. And I confronted this bully, and long story short, he never fucked with me again. And that moment changed things for me because I was so obsessed with the idea of a hero coming to save me. What is a hero? A hero is a miracle worker. A hero is an exception to the rule. And at first, I was just like you guys. You know, I didn't know shit about autism. I didn't think this was coming to my world. We had no history of this in our family. I had no reason to believe that this was going to be on my path. So when I heard it, I thought just like you guys. I thought it was a major debilitating disability. But even with that fear, I was so practiced in the belief that I could create the exception to the rule for myself. And I had done it over and over and over again. I had studied and practiced being the exception of the rule in from getting rid of the bullying to getting jobs to creating massive results with anything I touched, right? By the time I became a mother and autism became a part of my world, I was so practiced in that belief that I could be the exception to the rule, And then by extension, Juliana would be the exception to the rule because she's my cub. Of course, if I can make magic and beautiful things happen, she could make magic and beautiful things happen, and I can help her do that. And which, by the way, are all just thoughts I believe about myself. And I choose to believe these things about myself every day. And what I want to teach you tonight is that you can be the exception to the rule, not just for yourself, but for your child too. And it's the reason Juliana got the results she got. No doubt in my mind. And I assumed when we were in our autism world, in our bubble, as we were trying to work our way to language, using sign language, working our way to pottying with the sign, I assumed all parents thought this way. I don't know why, I just assumed it. And here's the thing, when we went into the special education preschool world, I realized very quickly that not many people think this way. In fact, I remember when we first went into the special education preschool system, I told all the moms in our 614, the most restricted preschool environment. I got 2 or 3 of them. I said, let's go to a spa this weekend. We deserve it. Work really hard for our kids with autism, right? And we go to the spa and we're sitting in the hot tub and they're talking about hiring a lawyer to give their homes away to the state. So when their children become adults, to have a place to live after they die. Our children at this point were about 3 years old. If you're thinking like this, or thinking things like, well, I'm going to start a business for dignified employment because my child's going to be older one day and I want them to be able to have a job, right? Or you're estate planning when you have a 5-year-old. And I'm all about planning, don't get me wrong. But I have a huge fucking issue with planning my kid right into impossibility. You're focusing on the negative when you're thinking like that. You're not focusing on what is in front of you. What if I could create something beautiful and autism still be a part of her life? And I can't give you the path to potty training if you've already given up on a limitless future for your baby. And if you're thinking these things already, and you're living a life around these types of beliefs, then nothing I say tonight's going to work. If you walk away with anything tonight, you got to walk away starting to think differently in your head. And you can't change anything for your child if you don't believe you can create change for yourself. I need you to start believing that the school isn't the best person to teach my child to potty training. It's me. And the reason it's me is because nobody knows my baby like me. I'm totally capable of this. And you can't change that autism is here, but you can decide how you want to show up for yourself and your child. And only when you do that can you change your reality and the reality for your baby. And this is the single most important thing that you need to understand tonight. What are your thoughts around your child learning to potty train? What are the thoughts that you live with every day? Do you think that they're capable of potty training? Do you think you're capable of teaching them? Does autism mean diapers for life in your mind? Does autism mean cancer to you? Is it a death sentence? Because it's not. The number one reason stopping your child from potty training is your thoughts about it. I'm a parent just like you. I had those thoughts too. When the first happened to us, I didn't believe the exceptions to the rule out of the gate. I had the knee-jerk reactions. It's terrifying. I'm scared for her. I thought her life was over. I thought mine was too. But then I went back to that old Michelle, the one that's been running since middle school. By the time I had Juliana, gosh, she was like 20 years out of school, almost 20 years, 15, 20 years out of school, right? That Michelle is fucking exception to the rule. She can create magic. I'm going to create magic for my baby. Your thoughts are creating your current results with potty training right now. And I'm a truth teller, and I tell it like it is. And time again, I have parents coming to me, and they're the ones blocking their children's success in the toilet, and they end up making lives harder for themselves. You don't think this is an important step. You can't just go about doing the motions, doing all the tactical on that potty checklist, right? That potty cliff note sheet that I just showed you guys. When I think that I've already failed before I've begun. It's not going to work. Your thinking needs to be setting yourself and your child up for success when it comes to potty training. So if you leave with anything tonight, it has to be that. If I leave with, and the child stays in diapers for the next week or two until I get my mind right, then so be it. I'd rather you not do anything. If you're thinking shit, then start thinking better. I'd rather you not even attempt potty training until you fix this first. All thoughts that you have are optional, and you get to choose your thinking to get new emotions, to take better actions, and get the result of a potty trained child. And I help parents like you to think intentionally to get the results you want for your child with autism. So the skills that you need to potty train your child is, number one, you need to be consistent. Number two, you need to be committed. We're no longer quitting, right? The only true fail of an autism parent is quitting. Number three, you need to be willing to clean up accidents. Potty training is not potty perfection, and it's not that for a reason, right? We have to be willing to understand that accidents are going to be a part of this process. But I always say, I look back on the potty training, both of my kids, and it's a season of my life. It's such a blip. I don't remember the shit. I remember when they landed it that first time. And you need to start changing the way that your brain operates. Instead of thinking that you're losing, you're either winning or learning. That's the mentality I run, and that's how I tell my parents to run. And the result, the child will be more compliant. You'll be more confident that you can teach them anything, not just potty training. I always say potty training is the gateway for my parents to join me. I'm like, great, I'll help you with anything autism. But if you learn to potty train first, you get so excited. Your wheels start really spinning, because how we learn one thing is how we learn everything, and how we teach one thing is how we teach everything. They start taking the initiative before I can even give them a suggestion for the other things that they might want to work on with their child. By doing this and showing up this way, you're less stressed, and you and your child will have more freedom. Imagine a life where you're washing the dishes and you hear your child scurry by, and you hear the light go on in the bathroom, and the toilet seat goes up, and you hear the pee going in the toilet. That is possible for everybody here. And that's the Potty Power class. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to answer questions. But before I get to that, I want to invite you to start taking action to help your baby now. If you keep going the way you're going, or you keep trying to do it by yourself, it's more stressful. It's more of the same. I want to invite you to do something different with a team in your corner that's going to take you to the finish line, because I have a 100% success rate in the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about now. So this is a message from one of my moms. Her name is Kimberly. And when she came to us, she said Easton was 3 and she couldn't get a firm diagnosis. He had very few words, zero social skills, and was not potty trained. And she found me the same day as her IEP meeting. And that day she said she felt defeated and overwhelmed after they asked me to list some of Easton's strengths. I sat there in tears as I struggled to come up with an answer. I had to find help, and luckily I found you. It's been 2 years since I joined the masterclass, and today I had a meeting with the school regarding his kindergarten placement. He's set to start in a general education class 80% of the time. He is fully potty trained, has no aggressive behaviors. His speech is blossoming, and he tells me he loves me on a daily basis. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, had I not found you, we would not be here. I want you to know that the work you do is so appreciated. It truly made all the difference in my life, and most importantly, Easton's life. You have literally turned our life around, and I can't tell you enough what that means to our family. You are truly a lifesaver. And this was a letter I got from Juliana's speech therapist before we entered kindergarten. It was a thank you letter for end of year gift I gave her. And one of the things she said, and I'll never forget, I have this letter, I'll cherish it for the rest of my life, is that she has made more gains and skills than I have ever seen in my 25 years of experience. This is possible for your babies. And that's why I want to share with you what I do on a daily, which is the Champions for Our Children Masterclass. And in the Champions for Our Children program, you're going to get personalized strategies for exactly where your baby's at. You're going to get a potty trained child because we have a 100% success rate in this program. You'll start to reconnect with your child because communication is finally in place. And we're going to get to the root level of your child's behaviors and treat it, not just treat the symptom. When life happens, we can help you to get back on track. If a regression happens, we'll tell you exactly how to handle it. We're going to learn from trial and error rather than quitting on our kids. The only true fail of an autism parent is quitting. We're going to teach you how to build that champion mindset so you no longer have to worry about autism every minute of every day. And you'll get your independence back too. And the way that the program works is it's a group coaching program. So you all are together, but it's wonderful because it's full on support. Everyone gets their questions answered, and we guarantee results in this program. And the first part of the program that you get is lifetime access to my study vault of courses. These courses you can do in your own time. They're all on a web portal that you'll get a username and password for. And we've got courses on potty training, communication, stopping problem behaviors, social skills, picky eating, elopement, mindset training, right? We're going to do a lot of this in my program. You name it, I've got it. You're going to have lifetime access to this. And we build out this vault every month. You're going to get all of this. You could do it. You could do it right away. I have some deep dive mamas that go in there. Deep dive mamas, dadas, grandparents. They'll go in there and they'll just submerge themselves with the courses. Or you can take your time because you have lifetime access. And this collection of programs is what makes my program the Harvard of Autism. In addition to the study vault, you're going to get 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week. You're going to learn from me and my experts. I'm the Autism Mom and Life Coach. I know what it's like to live your life. I know how to turn it around. And you're gonna come on my call and we're gonna create a customized plan for your baby. Let's say you come in, you say, Michelle, I want to work on potty training. Michelle, I got to get that loose stool under control. Michelle, I got to work on communication. You're gonna come to me. We're gonna start working on a blueprint that first night, and then we're gonna build on it every week until you get a result. That's why it's 100%. That's why I don't fail anybody. You show up, you come, you leave with what you came for. In addition to that, you're going to get to learn how to get your child the big 3 with effective ABA strategies that you can do at home. If you don't know what ABA is the #1 prescribed therapy for children on the spectrum because it is so effective. And the reason why I love it is even to this day, if somebody asked me, like, what's the #1 needle mover for Juliana, I would say me first. And then the second thing I'd say is me learning ABA. And you're going to get to learn that and implement it. A lot of the strategies I'm going to give you in the blueprint are probably going to be behavioral based. I'm not formally trained, by the way. I am just a woman who has lived this life for the last 8 years with my daughter. Okay. And you're going to get to talk to Armando, Melissa, and Stacy. And Armando in particular, I just want to give a shout out to because he's a male, and we're, there's a lot of female BCBAs out there. So we call him our trifecta because he is male. He is a BCBA and he's an adult with autism. And his mother was told that he would never speak. And he didn't until the age of 7. He remembers what it's like to not be able to talk. He used to bite himself You're going to actually be able to speak to somebody who has autism, who knows what it was like to not have skills and to live the life he lives now. He is married, thriving. You would not know Armando was on the spectrum if I didn't tell you. This is what's possible for your child. And in addition to myself and the BCBAs, you're also going to get a mindset coaching call a week. We talked a lot about mindset tonight. It is the gatekeeper to the progress for your child. I listed everything out on the Potty Cliff Notes. But if you're doing that with the shitty mindset, you're doing that thinking autism is cancer, it's never going to work. Whatever you do isn't going to stick. Changing this, literally, the floodgates will open. Your child will change before your eyes. And the mindset coaching calls are like our therapy in a box, we like to call them. You bring anything to that call. They're going to keep your mind in the right place so you stay determined to help your baby. You still believe in helping your baby is going to have the outcome that you desire. And everyone gets their questions answered. So in addition to the vault and the group coaching calls, we also have monthly specialist calls. We have a registered dietitian who's an autism mom. I believe if some of your kids are suffering from painful constipation or diarrhea or loose stools, she's all about that. I believe there is a connection with some children with autism, gut health and cognitive ability. Get the gut health right, they can learn so much more effectively. And Greer's an autism mom. She's a dietitian and she swears by this, not just for her child, but for the families in my program she's helped as well. And we also have a speech language pathologist. She was a master classer and now she's a coach in our program. She is an autism mom like you. And she believes in this program. She believes in the process. And everyone gets their questions. So even though it's a group coaching call, you raise your hand, you get your question answered. In addition to all of this, you're also going to get the private Facebook community. So if you have any questions in regards to the blueprint I put together, if you want to just cheer on your other families that are in the program, you're going to get to be a part of that community. You're not alone anymore. You'll also have email access to me. If you have any questions, when you join the program, your baby becomes my baby. So if you have any questions, you can always email me or you can tag a coach in the Facebook group. You'll get your questions answered. We check that group every day. Support is my North Star. So in addition to the study vault, the 3 to 4 live group coaching calls you're going to get a week, the monthly specialist calls, the private Facebook community, and access to me, you're going to get the action back guarantee because I said this is a group coaching program with guaranteed results and I meant it. So that means that if after 90 days you come and do the work, all you have to do is come to 1 call a week. If you come to 1 call a week, you come to mine. Come to mine, come to the BCBAs, you come to 1 call a week with me. And if after 90 days you don't get the results you came for, you stay until you do or I'll give you your money back. That's how solid I am in this program. That's why I just want you to win. I don't want to give you any reason not to join tonight. So if you join tonight, you're going to get access to the study vault, 3 to 4 live group coaching calls a week, the specialist calls, the community, access to me. The guarantee is yours. And tonight, for everyone who signed up for this potty workshop, we're going to do some bonuses because I love bonuses. I love shopping. So that's all me. So the first bonus, you're going to get 1 private session with me. As soon as you sign up, you email me and say, Michelle, let's schedule my session. I'm ready to go. This is a group coaching program, but you're going to get me one-on-one on Zoom. In addition to that, you're also going to get 5 months in the program instead of 3. So if you sign up tonight, we're going to give you 5 months in the program instead of 3. And that's 60 plus calls to change your lives. You get all of this, in addition to the bonus, number 3, $500 off the program if you join by midnight tonight. For Potty Power students only, the investment into the program is $2,497, or we could do 3 payments for $878 or 4 payments of $660. That's only $16 a day, 70 plus calls to change your lives. And all the bonuses go away after midnight. So Kim's going to put in the chat box the link to join, and you'll also be getting an email with the link to join. And if you join by midnight tonight, you get all of these bonuses. If you're thinking, can I afford to spend the money on this, or this is expensive? And I understand this one, and I have to understand, and I want you to understand, well, what do these thoughts mean to you? So for example, there are 2 reasons why people say to me that it's expensive. The first reason they'll say is like, I don't have any income to pay for this, right? I don't have any money in my account to pay for this. I want to do it, but I can't afford it. And then I always say, if you believe in the value of this program, I want you to think about something that's in your life now that's so valuable that you would find a way to come up with the money. So I talked to a mom the other day, and she said her son was obsessed with the iPad. She didn't have the money for the program, but she was obsessed with the iPad. This is what she told me. And I said to her, what if it broke? And it was $660, which is one payment, the first payment of my program. How would you solve for that? If you believe that this program is going to help you, I want you to think about the value, right? And I also want to think about becoming an effective autism mom is about problem solving, right? And if this is a problem that comes up for you, we got to figure out this problem first so that you can find the money to join the program. So problem solving is our jam in this. And I want you to think that if you believe that this program will help you, I want you to believe in this value as much as you would as replacing that iPad or replacing that fridge. Imagine what this program could bring to your life. And the other reason some people might say that they can't join now is, oh, I just bought a car, I just bought a house, we're saving for Disney. What I want to say here is that we're talking about life skills that may make or break the opportunity for your child to live an independent life. And I actually spoke to another mom last week who joined, and she was debt consolidating. And I debt consolidated too. I did it twice in my 20s. And if I were going through debt consolidation, that is important. That is something that I think you should take care of. But I remember her thinking was that, I just want to get the debt consolidation first, and then I'll take care of coming into the program. And I said to her, I did this too. And I remember paying off the debt that I had incurred. And I said, if at the same time as debt consolidation, I had this opportunity to join a program that would stop me from help my child get out of diapers, even if it meant the debt consolidation would take longer, it was like a distant second to having my child have this life skill. Not to mention the money she's going to get back if we potty train that child within a couple of weeks, which is a very common occurrence in the master class, that she's going to get that money back. So I posed to her, I said, well, what if you actually pay that money back faster than you thought and still invested in the program? What if that's available to you too? And I told her this, and I'll never forget this. And she said she'd never forget this either. As I said, I remember it was like a blip in my memory of paying off that debt. But I'll never forget the first time Juliana peed on the potty. And that's available to you too. I'm not saying it's not important to take care of your finances. I'm not saying it's not important to manage your money. I'm saying that this is just as important. And what if you could do both? And what if getting this result helped you do that even better? Same thing with not having the money. What if you can come problem solve for this, and then everything with autism is going to be a breeze. And that's what I want to leave you with tonight. If you're having thoughts, I'm too busy, or I don't know if now is a good time. If you don't have the time now, this is going to take even longer for you to do on your own. Time for children on the spectrum is more valuable than money, and we can't afford to waste a minute not being strategic in how we spend it. If you think that you need to think about it, it doesn't take time to make a decision. It takes information. I've failed so many times, or I've tried everything. How will this be different? Right? If you're having either of these thoughts, I'm here tonight. I'm ready to answer your questions. Time is only going to, when you're not, if anything you walk away with tonight, either you're working with me or you're not. I don't want you to be in decision. I want you to say, you know what? I love this chick. I want to work with her. She's my girl. She's my coach. I know she's going to help me. Or you know what? She's not for me. I'm going to go find something else. If you're sitting in indecision, not making a decision, it's energy wasted where we could be working with your baby. Either we work together with your baby or you find something else that's meant for you to work with your baby. I don't want you to waste time in indecision. Make a decision. Give yourself the gift of a decision tonight. And if you're thinking, I've failed so many times, or I've tried everything, how will this be different? I had a conversation with my husband last week, which I thought was amazing. He said he tried this thing, and he said it was a total money grab. It was a waste of money. This is horrible. I don't want to do this. And what if you're thinking that about my program? And I said to him, listen, what if it wasn't like a money grab and a total fail? What if you learned something from that? Remember our philosophy in my program, we're either learning or we're winning. What if joining, right? And everything that you've done up until joining me is the reason why you found me today. You didn't stop. You kept looking for the answer. And what if this is where it's going to be different? And if I keep looking at things as money grabs and then that's it, I close the door, I'm also closing the door to the opportunity that somebody else, maybe it's just the way that person was doing it. Maybe that way that the strategies in that program didn't work. Instead of looking at that as a total fail, I always say it's the tuition of my life. All right, that was a life lesson. That was my tuition. But I always keep going forward. I always create results. I don't close doors on myself. I'm either learning or I'm winning. And I want to talk also about unicorn syndrome because everyone has it. I'll get people to say, oh, but Juliana, she's different than my child. Juliana was diagnosed moderate to severe on the spectrum. She lost her language and we had to teach her sign language. You saw that video. My child has severe autism. So did Armando when his mother was told that he'd have to learn sign language because he'll never communicate. This works for other kids, but it won't work for mine. Not true. We have many children in the program that have successfully graduated potty training and communicating. My child is broken or I'm broken. There's nothing out there that will change the trajectory for my child. Unicorn syndrome is a self-preservation state. If I stay here, I never put myself out there to have these hopes and dreams for my baby. And when that doesn't happen, I can't be hurt. Subconsciously, I can't risk trying and failing. I won't survive it. Sitting in I don't know or asking shitty questions with no answers keeps you stuck and not taking action to help your baby now. Indecision is keeping you second guessing and losing precious time that you could be making progress. Nothing comes from an I don't know or a bullshit question you can't answer. Just decide. Give yourself the gift of a decision tonight. Either you love me, you're going all in, or you say, you know what, she's not for me, but I'm going to go find something else that is for me. Decide. Give yourself, if you walk away with anything tonight with the mindset training and making decisions, I'm a fast decision maker because I know if I'm looking at time as more valuable than money for my children on the spectrum, I can't waste a minute of it. Once time is gone, is the only asset of our life that we can't get back. Just make a decision tonight. Decide you're not ready and you won't do the work, or decide you're nervous but you're willing to go for it. Give yourself the gift of the decision. Honor yourself and your child right now. If fears and worry are dominating your day and night, join us. If there's something in you that identifies with what I've taught you today and it makes sense, take that leap of faith, join us. Saying yes will have you and your baby moving forward today. For Potty Power Workshoppers, if you book into program by midnight tonight, one private session with me, 5 months in the program instead of 3, and the $500 off. All bonuses go away after midnight tonight. That is wrong on the slide. It's going away at midnight tonight. Click the link in the chat box. And we also sent the link to you in an email. I'm going to grab a quick water and then we're going to get right to Q&A. All right. So now, I guess, where are you now? You and your child, now that you've joined the program.
He's awesome. He is fully potty trained now.
But now we go outside and not in full house because we've learned to let him use the bathroom.
We're doing really, really well. Both are potty trained. I'd say 95% of the time, doing really, really well.
Obviously, potty training is huge. Just a lot of things.
He's totally potty trained. We go everywhere, just in our undies. We don't have to worry about that.
He honestly now is 85% potty trained. Now and then he has some accidents, but he pretty much is able to go on his own.
I was scared I was going to be one of those parents that their child was not going to be potty trained.
We did the 3-day intensive, like you suggested, and Ezra is potty trained, 100% no accidents for P.
2 weeks ago, we completely removed the diapers in the night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for our school.
I just want to say that within a month of being in the program, Jude was potty trained, both number 1 and number 2. He hasn't been in a pull-up for over 4 weeks.
Everything, we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained.
All right, so now, like,
% no accidents for P.
2 weeks ago, we completely removed the diapers in the night.
Yes, it's very exciting to have him potty trained, and that was our goal for our school.
I just want to say that within a month of being in the program, Jude was potty trained, both number 1 and number 2. He hasn't been in a pull-up for over 4 weeks.
Everything, we got the service for him in 3 months. He's potty trained, he's more verbal.
He's potty trained. I take him to the potty, he pees. He has no accidents and he loves going to the potty. There's no problematic behavior.
And we're lock in step, and I think because he's got the pooping down and he's very independent for the whole process.
You know, I started listening to tips from Michelle, got involved in the course, and in the first couple of weeks, my son was fully potty trained.
And I know you're giving some advice to help him stay dry overnight, which has been helping. And it's been wonderful for me.
You and your team like help pull that out. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing what you guys do.
God, yes. Like we go everywhere now. We have no diapers with us. I always just take a little spare of underwear just in case he gets an accident. But he'll tell us. We'll go to the mall and he'll tell us that he says potty. Or he'll see a door that looks like it might be a bathroom door and he'll pull you in like he wants to go in there. And we go to the potty like in the mall. It's incredible.
It has been absolutely life-changing for me.
Absolutely. Hands down of everything we've done.
You guys have a gift.
100%. I do recommend it. This is going to help you.
You'd be crazy to not get in this program if you have concerns about your child.
Absolutely. And I have already been recommending.
It's amazing.
Just do it.
Yes, definitely. You guys need to do this program. It'll change you guys and your child's life tremendously.
All righty. So before we get into it, we're going to do Wheel of Names. Jen, are you ready? Jen, sure. Excuse me. Kim. Jen is usually with me, but it's Kim tonight. Kim, are you ready to do Wheel of Names?
Yeah, almost. I'm just updating the names.
All right, perfect. So while she's doing that, I'm just going to answer some questions. I accidentally said I answered this and I did not. This was Jessica Sawyer. My son refuses to use the potty. He will use underwear and he will pull up secretly. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're not going to have pull-ups in the house anywhere. So, unless he's got a secret stash that we need to, have him exhaust, like, we might have hide him in a ceiling tile. How can this be? He won't be able to do this because there won't be any pull-ups in the house. I say this with love, by the way. Okay, let's see who else we got here real quick. The first person I'm going to coach tonight is Cindy Arana. Make sure that you have good internet. You're in a quiet room with no distractions. You have good audio and a camera. And we will call on you first. Let me know when you're ready, Jen. I'll answer another question. Sorry, tablet died. Oh, we're going to talk about iPads. I guarantee we're talking about iPads tonight. Started this past Memorial Day weekend. My son has been exposed to the mini potty since 2 years old. Now 3 years and 8 months. I had an accident and had to hold off on trying. After reading your potty train pocket guide, we plummeted right in, and he only wears underwear now except for nap or sleep. I fear he is holding until he has a pull-up on or when he gets home. Any advice? Thank you in advance. He should not be wearing pull-ups. Now, if he is still going to school, good news, school should be out or coming to an end for all of us very shortly. If he wants to go at school and he's not 80% of the way potty trained, then we want to make sure that we are taking the pull-up off as soon as he gets off the bus and taking him right to the potty. You also want to look at rewards here, right? He knows what you want of him. I'm assuming he's done some positive elimination on the toilet. What's going to be an incentive for him to continue to do this? Let me know when you're ready, Kim. I'm going to keep going. All righty. Let's see. Granddaughter is 2.5, nonverbal, but not officially diagnosed autistic, but it's in the family and mom doesn't want her labeled. How can I help my granddaughter? Everything I talk about in my program and in tonight's workshop will work for any child. They don't even have to be, I'm very clear on this. They do not need to be verbal. And I want to talk about labels. I think it's super important. My daughter had language and lost it. So I guess you would quote unquote call her clinically nonverbal. I never described her that way. And the reason I never described her that way is because when I think nonverbal, I think final. I think can't be changed. I think forever, right? So I never thought that. I always felt like, and whether your child had this or not, it's a belief that I thought that kept me moving and motivated in the right direction, right? So I'd have thoughts like, okay, if she talked and she lost it, that means she could do it again. Now, little did I know, behaviorally studied, that is true. That if you had a behavior once and you lost it, you can have it again. You just need to teach them how to get access to that skill again. Okay. Let's see here. So when language is everything, not verbal language, but the language we use in our brains is everything. So if we're calling a child nonverbal, how does that feel in your body? And if it sucks, then we need to start changing that. I always call our babies in the program who don't have vocal language yet, pre-verbal, I say language is coming. So I want to be really intentional about the language I'm using to describe the child, because I want to always be in the mindset of forward momentum. Are you ready, Kim, or no? Kim, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, she's ready. All right, share your screen and let's do a wheel of names. And then we'll do our first coaching call.
Can you see my screen now?
I can. All right, everybody that's here, we took your names and put them in the wheel of names, and whoever wins is going to get a private session with me. We're going to make sure that they are here if they win. Let's see. You're going to get a 20-minute private session with Michelle if you win tonight. Let's see. Sharonda. Let's want to make sure Sharonda's still in the room. And she is. Sharonda, welcome. So exciting. So you won a private session with me. You're going to email Michelle. I'm just going to put it in the email, michelle@michellebrodgers.com. And we will set up your private session. All right, so let's get cracking with some coaching tonight. We will start with Cindy Arana. We're going to move, promote you to panelist. So your screen's going to blink. You're going to come on. You're going to unmute your phone, undo your camera, and we're going to talk potty. You have to accept the promotion to panelist as well. Promote to panelist. Make sure you did that right. My 4-year-old will go, but we are having a hard time with scheduling. I noticed that he goes more at night on his own, but he has trouble during the day. I think I answered this one. Okay, done. My daughter is almost 9, has been successfully potty trained multiple times for months at a time. Then will regress without a doubt back to square one. And we spend the entire year trying to get her back. What do I do? So we need to understand, first off, I need you guys to understand, we all know the word regression in the autism world, and we also, most of us think it's death. And regression isn't death. Regression is actually a part of life for all people, right? It's going to happen to all of us at some point. And it doesn't, remember, if they had the skill, it's going to be very easy to get it back. If they had it, you can teach them again. You just got to figure out the how to do that. So when we're looking at her reasons, we got to look at the reason for the regression. What's happened during those times where you get her up to a certain point and then she slips backwards? And what are your thoughts about that too? I'm very curious as well. So if you want to be coached today. All right, Cindy, unmute yourself and show your face and let's get to coaching. Cindy. Cindy, going once. Going twice. All right, Cindy, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Oh, I don't know. I can't see my screen either. I can't see myself.
All right, don't worry about it. Let's get to coaching. What can I help you with today? Tell me about your baby.
Well, my son is, he is 6 years old and he is still not potty trained. I am taking him in the mornings, trying to take him into the restroom. He sits only for like maybe 3 seconds. And then I do, when I hear him like maybe like taking a fart or something, I do take him back and he has taken a bowel movement. He has done it twice. So I'm trying to maybe like take him throughout the day, but since he has ABA all day from 8:30 to 4:30, so it's pretty hard to kind of train him. I try to do it after.
Okay. Is the ABA in the home or is it in a center? Is the ABA in a home?
No, it's in the center. They told me no, it's in the center.
And what did they tell you?
Center. That well, they told me that I had to wait 6 months for them to start potty training them. So I started like taking him in the morning. And but he has, because he was doing it when he was younger, but he regressed and he didn't want to go anymore. He was really scared of the public restroom. He will cry and have like big tantrums.
Got it.
So he refused for a long time to use the restroom.
Got it.
And then so he's still in diapers, and we are trying to restart. But he does not want to pee in the restroom. Only he has pooped twice, but that's about it.
And would you say it'd be fair to say that the poops were, you just caught them at the right moment? Like it was like a fluke, it felt like?
It's like, like I heard like he was taking farts, and so I took him to the bathroom, and he pooped twice.
Okay. All right, got it. All
Uh-huh.
right. So why do you think he's not figuring this out?
I don't know, but he loves playing with the bat. He loves flushing it, but I don't know. He's just not doing it. He goes in there 2 seconds and that's it. When he's peeing.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of the things we teach in the program is I don't know. We can't go to I don't know, because when we go to I don't know, the brain stops problem solving. Like we talked about problem solving. I mean, autism mom that's effective, that gets the big 3 for her children, she is a problem solver. So I don't know is not an acceptable answer you're allowed to give yourself anymore. So if we think I don't know, what ends up happening, the brain stops thinking. So what I want you to do is think about what I just asked you. You've tried a lot of things to get into potty train. What do you think the problem is? Like first thing that comes to your mind. Why do you think you can't?
I'm giving him my phone in there. I don't know. I have tried snacks in there, and I just don't know what I'm doing wrong there.
Okay. So, again, like if you had to guess, right? Your feet to the fire. One reason why you think that he's not doing it, even if it's pie in the sky, give me the first thing you're thinking.
Maybe not letting him stay a little bit more, like holding him back, like maybe like pushing him a little bit more, like to stay, even though he wants to get up, and maybe pushing him more, like to stay.
No. I'm not talking about the action you're going to take, right? I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you what's going on here. I want to know why you think it hasn't worked. Everything you've done up until this point, he's still in diapers. Why do you think that is? Why do you think he's not getting potty training?
Because I haven't done it 100% with him.
That's very honest.
Dedicated 100%. Yeah.
And you know what's
I have tried putting him into just like boxers and all that, but it's like he poops and he doesn't care. He doesn't mind if he
okay, got it. All right. So she's got a few things going on here. She's got some thought errors. We call them thought errors in my program. He doesn't care. Right? And then she also said she's being honest because he doesn't care. The action she takes, this is the thought, he doesn't care. And the action she takes is she's not consistent. Because when you think, and I want to do the feeling right here. So she has a thought, and this is how all our brains work. Our brain presents us a thought. And as far as I know, we're the only species that can hear our thoughts. And that's a gift from God, because if we can hear our thoughts, we can choose the ones we want to get behind, and we can toss the ones that aren't going to help us and are going to make us feel like shit. And the way the brain operates is, as human beings, we have 60,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are shitty. And the reason that is that your brain is not made to keep you happy. Your brain is made to keep you safe. So it says a lot of shitty stuff to keep you in the safe cave. And even if your higher brain desperately wants a potty trained child, and you desperately want to figure out how to do it, your brain's like, listen, that's scary. It's new, it's changed, it's different. That could affect our survival. But him sitting in his shit and piss diaper, we can just change those. So when you think the thought, he doesn't care, how does that feel?
Well, I feel bad, and you know that.
Yeah, you feel bad. And then the action she ends up taking is she's not consistent.
Right.
And the result she gets is a not potty trained child. The reason why he is not potty trained isn't because he doesn't care. No child cares until we give them a reason to care.
Right.
The reason he isn't potty trained is because you believe this as like truth of law. You'd submit this to a court of law as evidence. And if I believe a thought like that, like it's evidence, right? then I'm not going to do
Right.
anything. The action I'm going to take is pretty shitty, which she agreed to because she's not being consistent. And the result is more of the same life we're living now.
Right.
The real problem with what you've tried is that he will not sit on the potty. He has what we call potty phobia. You said that. He doesn't, you have to drag him into the bathroom. He's scared of going into the bathroom.
Uh-huh.
We can't
Uh-huh.
run before we, right? We can't run before we crawl. So he has to get, you have to take that part of potty training and work on it separately from the whole task. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take baseline data. So if I ask him to sit on the potty and he'll only sit for 3 seconds and pop up, that's your baseline. Then you're going to create, you're going to get an audible and visible timer, and you're going to say, okay, you're going to put 10 seconds on there. And if you stay for 10 seconds, I'll give you a sticker. I'll give you a cookie. I'll give you a chip. Remember, I say the ask should be 10 times the request. The reward should be 10 times the ask. So we start there and we build out that time. We go from 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds to we get up to 3 to 5 minutes. We want to get him neutral sitting on the potty. That means we're not holding him down. That means that he's not crying and complaining. That means he's not popping back up. He's got to be able to sit so that you can actually potty train. And this is also the way you have instructional control for a child you quote unquote think is hyper and all over the place. This is how you teach them. And if I want a child that cares about potty training, I got to give them a reason to care. You and I have our default reason for caring, right? Because if we don't go, when nature calls, we have an accident and it sucks, we got to clean it up. For him, that looks like me shitting my diaper and mom cleans it up. That's not a problem. I've got to create an environment where, number one, that's a problem. And number two, hey, if you do this temporarily, I'm going to give you an amazing reward for eliminating.
Yeah.
But I can't jump.
But do you think?
What?
But do you think he knows do you think he knows since he is nonverbal? And I think, well, he's nonverbal, and I think he doesn't know a lot of things. Although his speech therapist tells me he knows more than what he thinks.
All right, I got it.
Than what
Right.
we
So
know.
this right. That was one of the first myths that we busted tonight. That a child does not need to be verbal to potty train. So now we've got to myth bust your own brain on this, because you believe that he does. That because he can't communicate, he can't potty train. And that's the exact reason why he's still in diapers. Because you believe that, just like you believe he doesn't care as law.
Oh, okay.
When I believe that, I'll tell you, if his mother believes this about him, then who's coming for him? Who's coming to save him? If you're gonna, just resolve to that being the fact of your life. And now I'm going to show you, just like the speech therapist showed you, that is completely wrong. That up until this point, if you're believing that a lot, that it's wrong. And I want you to show me, I'm going to ask you, tell me sometimes when you've said something that you know he understands what you said.
Yeah, a lot of times.
All right, give me some examples.
Like when he wants, he loves gummies, and I tell him, no, thank you, you're not going to have some, you just have some. And he goes right and sits wherever he goes back to whatever he's doing. Because he knows he already has some and he can't have any.
Okay. If you said, let's go outside, all right, so like if you said, let's go outside to the backyard and play, or let's go in the car, do you think he'd know what that meant?
Yes, he understands that too. Because I tell him, come on, let's go play outside. And then he goes outside and plays.
So to answer your own shitty thought, right? Your own shitty thought was because he's nonverbal, he can't comprehend instructions. Is that true?
Yes. He can understand.
He can comprehend, right? And me thinking that and not challenging that bullshit belief is the reason you're in the diapers still. That's why I tell you guys, it's not about the tactile. You came here tonight, I know you're like, she's going to pull back the curtain. She got 100% success rate. She's going to show me how she does this with all the kids in her program. It's the mind. The answer you already have. But if I immediately believe that he needs to be verbal to potty train, then I'm never going to potty train him. And here's another thing too. You're not going to teach that child to be verbal because you think it's a handicap, and that's what's going to lead you to try to teach a child to communicate when you don't think that you believe nonverbal means nonverbal for life.
Right.
So
you are right.
I know. And so you're going to work on potty phobia first. Get him up to 3 to 5 minutes. You can run that exercise 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. I'd run it every hour on a weekend. Build up
But
that
do you
time
think
to
it?
5 minutes.
Do you
And
think
then,
it's phobia about bathrooms since he likes flushing the toilet?
what did you say?
Because he likes flushing the toilet.
Yeah, that's a nice reward, right? You could even make that the reward for
Okay.
sitting. You can't flush the
Okay.
toilet until you sit for 2 seconds. When you sit for 2 seconds,
Okay.
you can flush the toilet. See how easy that is?
Okay. Uh-huh.
See how you
Okay.
can take something that he loves and now create a
Uh-huh.
reward system around it. First sit
Okay.
until the invisible and audible timer goes off, and then you get the reward of a cookie. You get to go outside, you get a sticker, you get bubbles, you get a piggyback ride, and you get to flush the toilet in his instance.
Okay.
Was that helpful? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
All
Lots
right,
of
Sam.
sense.
Well, let me know how it goes, all right?
I will. Thank you so much.
Believe pre-verbal language is coming. He can understand everything I say. That's the thought we think from now on.
Yes.
All right, I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
That's
Thank
Juliana.
you.
No problem. That's Juliana coming on just to say hi to everybody. All right, Sherilyn, you are up next. So powerful. She kept saying, I don't know. She said, I don't know about 3 times. And then finally, word vomit. Well, I wasn't consistent. Oh, and by the way, you know, I don't think he understands. And then I forgot what else she had said. Whatever. Word vomit. It comes out after you jiggle that I don't know. You just gotta jiggle it like a runny toilet. Jiggle that lever, and all of a sudden all the answers come flowing out. Hi, Sherilyn, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Tell me about your baby. How can I help you tonight?
So, my daughter was diagnosed around 2.5, but they said it was pre-diagnosing, so she wasn't formally diagnosed until 3, and we did it through the school. But we kind of knew something was off with Jordan. You know, I just was very fortunate to be in a church where there was an EI already. When I moved to Charleston, I got in touch with another EI, but before I got in touch with a full-time EI, my daughter already showed signs of wanting to potty train. You know, pulling at her diaper, following me to the bathroom, sitting in the bathroom with me, you know, watching me do, you know, so I would tell her, like, mommy's peeing on the potty. Now we take the toilet paper and we wipe our, you know, and I didn't use like, this is our bird, this is our whatever. I said, this is your vagina. You have to wash it. Nobody touches it but you know, I did all the things. And so that was around 18 months. And then we found out she was autistic at about 2.5, 3 years old. And so at that time, she transitioned just into pull-ups. So I told her, I said, hey, I said, you're going to go to kindergarten. I said, we went through pre-K. They let you get away with pull-ups here and there. And she was dry for the most part. Even in a pull-up though, she never would poop after a certain age. After 4, she wouldn't really poop in the pull-up. She would, or if she did poop in the pull-up, she would take it off really quickly. And she did she would hide when she had to go poop, you know, like, so when she had to go to the bathroom, she would hide. Peeing, she just didn't care. She was like a little boy. If it happened, it happened. If it, you know, and if it didn't, it didn't. But pooping, she thought is very secretive, and she kind of hid all the time. So when she transitioned into, we went from a PIC class. I don't know if you know the pre-intervention classes for kids with autism or disabilities. And then they put her in gen ed because of our schooling. And so I was like, okay. I said, but she's autistic. So we had a very extensive IEP, but one of the rules was she had to go to school potty trained. So I told her, I was like, listen, you're going to be in kindergarten, you're going to public school. I said, you have to be potty trained. So we did the no pants dance, you know, locking in an area where it was easy to clean messes. So I had a portable potty. She didn't really like the little potty seats. Found that out the hard way when I tried to get her to sit and she flipped it over. So I was like, okay, so we're not going to use the potty. We're just going to treat this. So I put her on the regular pot. I got one of the seats that sit on a regular pot. And she took to that a little bit better. So she was like, okay. So she had telltale signs of when she wanted to poop, but I never knew when she had to pee. But eventually, my daughter was diagnosed as nonverbal, but I taught her sign language and certain things. So I was told her, mommy's going to potty. just Jordan, you know, do you need a potty? So she would always go to the bathroom. So I got her to pee on the potty, and I thought I got her to poop on the potty, but she did it once.
This was
but
this
then she
last
started
weekend, or when was this? When was this?
Well, last weekend was weird. She only pooped on the potty last weekend because she had diarrhea and she thought she was peeing.
Okay.
But when she was 4 and when we started potty training, because she's 8 now, but when she was 4 and we started, she pooped one time, and I don't know if it scared her or what to sit on the potty, but now she will not sit on the potty. She has to stand in order to do number 2.
Got it. All right. So we're now fast forward to today. 8 years old. Still wear diapers?
No. So she's completely in underwear.
All right, underwear.
She's been in underwear since 4. So we haven't done pull-ups. She does pee on the potty.
Pees on the potty, and your problem is just poop.
Right. And she can sit on the potty. So the problem is she can sit on the potty. If she has a tablet or a phone, she will sit on the potty and just pee and just sit and play. So I know sitting on the potty is not the problem.
Okay.
I feel like it's a sensory issue that I need to try to help her to understand of pooping in the potty instead of pooping on my floor.
Got it. So now what she does is she just pulls down her pants and takes a shit on the floor.
Well, not just pulls down her pants. She gets completely naked. My child has to get completely naked to go to the bathroom.
All right, so she gets completely naked, and does she, once a day she poops?
No, not even.
Multiple times a day.
Yes, she's fairly consistent. So she's in school 8 hours. So the first thing she does when she comes home from school, right? So she gets home about 2:30. By 3 o'clock, she's taken number 2.
Okay.
Let's say we eat dinner around. She eats dinner around 6:30. Like she'll have a snack, but then she eats dinner around 6:30. After 20 minutes after dinner, I know she's got to poop. So I try to corral her into the bathroom, but she will not. She'll stay in the bathroom. And we'll sit there until we just have a big blowout, and she'll, try to attack you or something like that. And then and I'm just to the point where like, I don't give a shit anymore. Like, I don't care anymore. If you don't care, I don't care. And so I just started teaching her how to clean up her own mess. So she shits on the floor, she has to clean up her own shit.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
So that's the daily. So basically she's shitting twice a day, once as soon as she gets home from school.
Well, 3 or 4 times a day. My daughter's pretty consistent, 3 to 4 times a day.
6:30, and then what are the other 2 times?
She goes right before bed, so she goes again around 9.
Okay, and then the 4th time?
Well, that's generally on the weekend. So 4 times is on the weekend. She wakes up and goes poo.
Oh, in the morning, a.m. All right,
right. So in the morning.
When it's school, it's 3, 6:30, and 9, and on the weekends, it's as soon as she gets up 3, 6:30, and 9.
Right.
Got it. Okay. So what do you think the problem is? Like, why won't she poop? Do you think it's sensory?
I feel like it's sensory, but I'm not really sure. I know we go through the battle and we go through periods of where it's like, okay, let's just practice sitting on the potty. And I bought multiple devices. I've tried rewards. I thought, someone's like, why don't you just give her an M&M? If she poops on the potty, you give her 3 M&Ms versus 1 M&M, for peeing on the potty. Rewards didn't work.
Okay.
Even because I had to hide, I would hide the candy or the rewards because, she was able to go and get it.
Yeah.
So then I had to hide it. But so rewards
even after you hit it, it wouldn't eliminate for it.
Right. So then she was just like, well, if I'm not getting anything, then I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's why, like I told you, like at this point in time, I'm just ready to give her a puppy pad and stick her in a corner and let her do it there so she can clean up her mess easier.
You emailed me, right? You were the mom talking about puppy pads? Oh, yeah, fuck. I'm the mom. We're not giving our kid a puppy pad. We don't have a puppy. We have a child. Oh my God. All right. Go snap you right out of that one. Hit you with a cold fish there. We're not doing puppy pads. I have a puppy. We don't use puppy pads for my own puppy. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2. Okay. So let me tell you what the problem is here. So what number 1 is that it's optional to shit in the toilet at your house. That's the number 1 problem there. You don't make it a requirement for her. You've actually made it quite convenient for her to shit wherever she wants, because she can just take her clothes off at any time, squat and dump, and the only thing she has to do is just clean it up real quick. And now this is the thing. A sensory experience is real. It is a very different sensory experience for a child to go poop than pee. That doesn't give them passage to not do it. Doesn't hurt. It just feels different. It feels a little weird, right? Because it's coming out your bum. It's not the, it's not like liquid. It's something firm coming out your bum, right? So we can honor that. But the only way she's going to learn is when it's required of her. Now you have a couple of major thought errors here. First is at 6:30, she's got to go right after dinner. You're trying to get her to go, and then you have the blowout, right? And she's fighting with you, and you're fighting with her, and then finally you say, "I don't care, shit where you want," right?
Right. Exactly.
Which is exactly what she wants. She's like queen of the house in training over there. I do whatever the fuck I want around here. Nobody's gonna tell me anything. And let me ask you a question. I always say this to parents that are feeling the way you are and kind of going through these motions and thinking crazy things like bring puppy pads into the house. Would this be tolerated in your home if she wasn't diagnosed with autism?
Absolutely not. And that's the problem. And I try to tell her all the time, and I've told her since she got diagnosed, I said, listen, you got this diagnosis. I said, but you're not slow. And I know you understand me because
she understands everything. She got her house on lock. Everything works exactly how she likes it. There's no reason to change anything. It's not required. You give up every time. She knows exactly what to do, what buttons to push. And you're just like, okay. You've got it down to a science that she poops 3 to 4 times a day. You know exactly when she's going to do it. And she still gets to do what she wants. And these are the thought errors that we're running, right? So you've got a lot of them. And this is why thought work is such an important part of my program, is because I have to clean up the mental junk for you to actually get this done. So you're thinking puppy pads, clean up your own shit. If she can clean up her own shit, why can't she shit in the toilet? Right? This is not
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? She's totally capable of following directions. Right?
Yes. I have figured, yes, if you keep it minimal, she can follow 3-step directions.
If you keep it minimal. Well, what's more minimal than pulling down your pants and letting shit go in the toilet? I'm thinking it's a multi-step process to take off my clothes and clean up the shit, poop on the floor, and then go find the cleaner and the wipes to clean up the shit. That's more complicated. See how your brain is feeding you bullshit to keep everything the same. What I'm asking you is scaring your brain. It's like, what the fuck, man? She's asking you to put her back on that toilet. This is going to be fucking hard. This is going to be scary. Listen, just let her clean up the shit. We're good. Go get puppy pads. This is such, you know what I mean? We have to start challenging the thoughts that our brains present us and not just take them all as oh, you're right. Oh, you're right. Oh yeah, puppy pads, great idea. See what I'm saying? Wait, what the fuck here? If autism wasn't a part of the equation, she's so capable. She has so many skills already. She obviously comprehends. Why are we giving her a pass for it? Because I believe autism is death. When you think of her having autism, what does that mean? How do you think of her? How do you think of her?
I guess I do think of it as death because Jordan's already registered to live in an autism community.
How old is she's 8 years old?
She's set to, yeah.
Okay.
So she's on the registered list for the new autism community in our city.
I'm not saying not be a planner, but if you have an 8-year-old that's already
but I am a planner.
But this is
I am a planner.
This is a death warrant plan. This isn't a I want to move my baby forward plan. I say this with love. I know I'm coming at you hard. This is how I work, man.
No, it's okay.
I gotta get you to move. I gotta get you to snap out of that bullshit. If I'm already registering her for an adult community, she's 8 years old. Why are you signing off on that already? If you do that, who's gonna fight for her? It has to be you. And fuck that whole community, whatever. You know what? It's whatever. It's in the trajectory. What I want to talk about is the reason why potty training isn't happening is because of this type of planning. That's what we tell ourselves. Oh, we're planning. I'm a planner. I'm being responsible. I'm doing all the things. But when I put my eggs and my investment, my mental investment here, she's already gone.
Mm.
I don't want you to think that about your kid. Say this with love. I know I'm assertive because I got to get you to move. Stop thinking shit like this. Stop putting your time into getting on the wait list here and get her shitting in the toilet, which she's so capable of doing. And when you do this for her, you're going to be like, holy fuck, what else can I teach this kid?
And that's the crazy thing. I feel like I'm such a failure because I've taught her so many other things, but potty training is the one thing I haven't completed. So like, if you look at your check mark of my kid met this criteria, this criteria, this criteria, yeah. Potty training has this big empty space, you know?
It doesn't though.
So,
she's already halfway. She's more than halfway there. I'd say she's 80% of the way there because she knows that she's supposed to do it in there. She's choosing not to because you're allowing it because she has autism and I have signed up for this community that she can live in when I'm dead. But like, really, I say this, I'm not trying to I'm not like yelling at you. I'm saying this. I want you to stop thinking shit like this. Stop putting your time there. And like, you're putting it like you're a total potty failure. You're not. You're either learning or you're winning, right? If I think of it as a fail, that feels shitty. That's like my husband, like, oh, I did this thing and it was a fucking total waste of time. What if it's not a waste of time? How many times have people in here had therapists that sucked, but then you go to another therapist and it's been so much better? But do you say, oh, ABA sucks. That one guy, forget it. That one guy, it was just a fucking money grab, right? How many times has that happened in all types of our lives? If I look at all of those investments of time and or money, I'll never keep moving forward. That's my point.
Right.
I got to have the meat.
So,
what? I got to have the meat.
Okay,
sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. So what I want to do here is like the first thing I have to do is stop thinking shit. That's already putting my mind in the group home mentality. And if I want to get out of that, I got to start believing in what she's capable of. And I got to stop believing all the shit that my brain is serving me. Like I'm a potty failure. I failed at potty training. That's not true. You got her P trained. And she's 80, I think she's 80% of the way there because she knows it's supposed to go there, but she's just opting not to, and you allow it. It's optional in her home. So she's just, all right, this is how I like it. This is how we're keeping it.
Right.
So that's the first thing. I want to be committed, right? One of the things you needed to be a potty training master is you're going to be committed to this process. Number 2, you have another thought error that rewards don't work. This is like saying potty training doesn't work or this right? Maybe rewards do work and I just didn't apply them correctly. Or maybe rewards do work and I just didn't find the right thing, the thing that she would do anything for access to. So when I think of the rewards that you gave as an example, you said M&Ms, right? So you have M&Ms and you give her 3 and she's like, I like candy. Candy's great. If I can find it and steal it, I will, but I'm not shitting on the pie for that. Right?
Right.
Right? Right. So if I think about what she interacts with on the daily, what is like her number 10 hot button thing that she loves? That she would do anything for access to?
She likes to swim. She likes playing in water.
Okay, she likes water and she likes swim. On a scale from 1 to 10, water play and swimming, where would that be?
That's number 1.
No, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being amazing.
Oh, 10 is amazing. Amazing. That is what she would prefer to do.
Got it. So do you live in a community with a pool? Do you have a pool?
We don't have a pool in our community, but there's an indoor pool that I reward her with. She's done a good job or whatever.
What if the reward, or let me also talk about this. What does she play with on the daily? You mentioned it when you get her to sit.
Her tablet. Oh, her phone, it's an old phone.
All right, so like a phone or tablet, right?
Yeah.
And how often does she get this thing?
We've, according to ABA, we had to cut down, so she gets in about 2 to 3 hours. During the week, on the weekend, a little bit longer than that.
You do anything for
6 hours.
All right.
Huh?
You do anything. So on a scale from 1 to 10, what would you say the desire is for that?
That's probably about a 9 or 10 also. She would do anything to get that phone or tablet.
And the reason why she's saying 9 or 10 versus 10 is because she has access to it every day. If she didn't have access to it every day, it would be just as valuable in her mind as a 10, as a 10 of water playing, right?
Correct.
So what if we took this out of her? What if this no longer was a right and it was a privilege that she got for going to the bathroom?
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying to rip the iPad out of her hands right now. What I always say with this is we're going to use something that they have access to every day that they love and they're obsessed with, like an iPad. What I tell you all to do is when they go to bed, make the thing disappear. And they're going to wake up the next day and say, where the fuck's my thing? Where's my, I don't know. I don't know where it went, right? And you let that go for a couple of days. I want to create high desire for that thing. Now, she's probably going to be upset. She's going to probably try and use the TV as an alternate, which you're going to hide the batteries for that too. If they're on there watching YouTube and they can go to the TV and do the same thing, that's an interchangeable. You want to make it so that whatever desire this solves for, she can't get it in something similar. Like a TV is very similar to a tablet, you're watching it, right? So after 3 or 4 days, you're going to say, guess what, Jordan, I found your tablet. And every time you pee, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. And every time you poop, I'm going to give you 30. What do you think she would do?
Okay.
She's got to go on the toilet, though. What do you think she would do?
I think she would try her hardest to try to get that tablet or phone for 30 minutes.
That's right. And we went from a child and a mother who, at the start of this conversation, was on the verge of buying puppy pads to now a mom. How do you feel?
A little silly.
Why do you feel silly?
Because I felt like if I can't train my child as a human to use the bathroom, then since I've trained dogs to use the bathroom, with
and
the use of a puppy pad.
Right? Yeah, and thinking a thought like that is like so fucking harmful. It's unnecessary suffering to vest. Your brain's going to present it, but you don't have to believe it. That's what I want you guys to start walking away with from tonight, is that your brain's going to present you a lot of shit, but you don't have to believe everything it says. And believing it all of this time has led you to the idea of puppy pads. It has led you to the idea of putting her name on a wait list for an autism home at 8 years old. What if by the time she's 18, like that's what I'm saying, you don't even know where she's going to be in 16, 18 years old. What if you get this and you're like, holy fuck, I use that iPad like a tool instead of giving all my power away to it. I love that she's addicted to it. That means she's going to train fast. She can do anything for it. But you're never going to see that if you see autism as death, if you're signing her up for a group home, if you're believing that you need to get puppy pads. The key to the answer to solve is already at your fingertips. But we've got to fix this.
Yeah, because my other issue with the whole potty training is she's 8, she'll be 9 in December. And this, research. What happens when she gets her period? And if she can't poop in the potty, can I put her in a pad?
I agree. That's going to suck. Why are you even thinking that? Right? See how your brain, like, this is what the brain does.
I don't know. My brain is kind of.
I know.
I saw a kid at therapy who was a teenager.
Yeah, I know. That's gonna fucking suck. That's not gonna be your life. Definitely getting this done this summer. It's making to fucking happen. And I'll tell you something. At 30, when you're ready to have the throwdown, you better be ready to fucking throw down, because you're crying, you're complaining, ain't gonna get you ain't gonna get you out of going in the potty. You were going. I'm determined, because I'm not going to be the mother that changes poop and shit and piss with a period in your diaper.
Absolutely not.
No, but I got to start challenging our brain. And this is the thing. Your brain, I always say this quote, it's not mine. I don't know where I got it from. The mind is like a furnace. It could warm your house or it could burn it down. An unchallenged mind, the one that you've been living with and believing everything it feeds you, is like a child running around in there with scissors, stabbing everything, fucking everything up.
Right.
Stop believing everything that your brain presents you. Start believing things. Look at all of her skills that show you she's totally capable of doing this.
Yeah.
You're capable of teaching her. You got her this far. You can finish this.
Yeah, if I can teach her how to set a place setting with the fork, knife, and spoon, I should be able to potty train, right?
If I can teach her to pee on a potty, I can teach her to poop on a potty. If I can teach her to get the wipes and the Clorox to clean up the shit, she can go on a toilet.
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't make
Right.
sense. So you're getting ready. You're going to do this?
Yeah, actually, I need to go because she's trying to take a shit in her room right now.
All right. Well, let's
So-
get her. Let's go get her and get her in the potty. Let me know if
All
you
right.
have any
Well, I will
questions,
email
all right?
you later. I'm gonna jump off. Is that okay?
Kisses. Good night.
Bye.
Oh wow, that was a powerful one. Holy smokes. And Janelle, you are next. I think she helped so many people. She doesn't already know that. Crazy. Crazy how crazy our fucking minds are. All right, so Adriana Dominguez says she is motivated with motivated. That's what the ABA told me. Before was iPad or phone. We gave her ice cream. She does eliminate, but does when she wants. That tells me that the reward isn't like that hot 10 reward. You got to make sure whatever you pick for the motivation has to be like, I'll do anything. I'll claw somebody's eyes out to have access to this thing. All right. Anjanelle, are you coming up or did you not? If you want, you have to accept the thing that says promote to panelist. Anjanelle. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi. Yes,
Hi.
I have the question about, I have a 4-year-old who's poop trained. He will sit on the toilet, but I'm trying to figure out now how to get him to let me know when he has to pee. You know, should I go on and let him start standing up since it's a boy, or do I continue to try to get him to sit down and do the
So
different?
he's poop trained, but he's not pee trained?
Right.
Okay, so let's go through some quick questions here. So when he has to go poop, he just goes and he pulls down his pants and he poos in the toilet?
No, he'll show me a sign that he has to go, like he'll bend over, hold his stomach,
Okay,
and then I
so
know
like,
like,
hey,
oh,
hey, I gotta go, and then we run over and you go.
yes.
Okay, what's the reward for going?
I clap and we cheer and just basically
Say he's
encourage
bent
him.
over and he's doing his belly. Is he about to shit or is he telling you I have to go and that's my sign?
He's letting me know that he's about to go. So we run to the bathroom and then I sit him on the toilet. And then
So
he sits
so if
there.
you don't, all right, so if you don't catch that, will he shit his pants?
Sometimes he'll run to his changing mat where he's comfortable if I don't take him to the toilet.
Got it. All right. So we want to be really clear because her brain is presenting that she has a poop trained child. And what she just has is a really good child who tells you when you have to go. So like he gives you the sign because he's about to squat and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right. So we need and then the incentive when he goes is you give him cheers. This is fine. It's not an issue, but I want her to really get to the point of like, it's not like when I catch it, I want it like to be officially poop trained. I want to make sure that all the poop is going in there every time or close to every time. So if he doesn't have anybody to show the sign to, he can go on his own. But this is definitely great progress. I just want to make sure that we're thinking about it correctly. Okay. So now for the peeing. So now you're saying he's not pee trained. What we need to do, and this is where we kind of skipped it a little bit, is we need to get a lot of reps in of sitting and eliminating. So sitting isn't an issue for him. He'll sit for, if you ask him to at any time or no?
No, sometimes he pops up a lot
Okay,
when it comes to trying to pee.
All right, so the first thing we have to do with a popper-upper, right? We're going to call them a popper-upper tonight, is we have to get them so that they're neutral to sitting for 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to pass. So the only reason that he hasn't been pee trained is because he won't sit. So we're right back to that same problem, that the myth busting for tonight. You cannot get a child who can't sit to potty train. We have to work on the sitting first. Now it doesn't mean you can't get a child that doesn't sit to sit, but we work on that as like its own program. Then what we want to do is work on the reward. So your reward's a little light. I mean, I'm sure, your clapping and cheering is nice on any given day, but I really want to create high desire for him to want to use the bathroom. So I would teach him sitting because he has to sit for poop and he is getting some reps of that. But I want him to be able to sit anytime I ask him to sit for 3 to 5 minutes. And if I put him on, he pops back up after, like, I do a timer and it's 30 seconds and I start my timer there and I start giving him a little reward for going. That could be like a Hershey Kiss, a balloon, a piggyback ride, something a little bit more valuable than just the claps and the praises. Right? And then what I do is I can start building that up to 3 to 5 minutes, and then I can actually do a potty training intensive. He's 4, right?
Yes.
You're going to use your toilet training collection sheet. You're going to put all your information on here so you'll know when he's dry, when he's wet, when he has a bowel movement. I'll give you an idea of how to space your sits. I would just do an intensive with him. I'd give him a lot of drinks and salty snacks. It'd be 5 minutes on, 10 minutes off, and I just keep doing that accordingly. But you can't do that if he won't sit anytime you ask him. That's why you got to fix that first. And then I want you to think for the actual elimination. Remember what we just went through with the mom before you. We have to think, what is a 10 on in his life that he would do anything for? That's got to be his elimination reward.
Okay.
Was that helpful?
Yes, it really was. Thank you so much.
All right, keep me posted.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, we're going to take one more. We are going to take Adriana Dominguez, because you asked me something and I'm not 100% sure if I answered it. So here we go. Adriana Dominguez. Guys, the link to join the program is in the chat. We get bonuses tonight till midnight if you sign up tonight. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Jen, Kim, put the link in the chat for everybody. Adriana, you there?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome.
So this is my issue. My daughter actually is going right now to, she eliminates, but she's going to therapy, ABA, and she has different people. So different therapists, so sometimes she goes with some people, sometimes she doesn't go with people. At ABA, they want her on pull-ups. They don't want her to pee, to have diapers. We recently moved from another city last year, and it took a while for her to accept going potty. We got it down to 1 hour with no accidents, maybe one accident if that, but then we moved and everything was good, going good for like 2 months, 3 months, and then things changed again. So was having accidents. She was not eliminating with some people. She was going. So now she just is like, she gives me a hard time to me. Sometimes she doesn't, but she poop. She's not going at all. I just don't know what else can do.
Yeah. So poop you've never had success with, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. So poop you've never had success with. Pee you've had 80 to 100% success days or no?
Yes, correct. Before.
Where are you at with it now? Are you still trying or you're not even attempting right now?
Oh yes, we're still trying. We're still trying.
Underwear or
at the house. At the house, she's with underwear. At the ABA therapy, they don't accept her. They say she's having too many accidents. So we put her a underwear first, and then they put a pull-up.
I got it. So she wears underwear with a pull-up at ABA.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right. And poop you've never got.
Poop never.
Got it. And so you had 80 to 100% success. You had some momentum with the pee. The poop you won't. Sometimes she sits, sometimes she won't when you ask her.
Yes, correct. Sometimes she just gives me a hard time. She still goes, and I say, okay, no phone. I'm gonna take away the phone from you. Then okay, then she goes.
Got it. So it's like a negative reinforcement. And then she gets it
so
back.
I just don't know. Yeah, but I'm the one that has to be taking her. She's not before she was holding it and was not going, but now she just doesn't care. So if I have to take her every 30 minutes or every hour, and so hopefully she will not have an accident, but she's not requesting. She's requesting only to get away from stuff. I want to go potty.
Got it.
Or she's scared to get away. Got
it. Okay. So let me ask you a question. So why do you think she hasn't landed this 100%?
I just feel that she might get whatever she wants sometimes. Maybe the iPad is not a motivation anymore because she just gets it.
You mean like the iPad, for example?
Yes, the iPad or the phone, she just like, she likes it and she loves it, but because we have a feeding issue as well, we give it to her for her to eat and for her to stay in a place. So I just don't think like potting, having the phone is too much motivation. Sometimes it is, sometimes it doesn't. At ABA,
Why?
they
But
say
why
that
though? But why do you think that? You're right, but why do you think that?
because she knows that she's gonna have it when she eats it, when she is gonna eat to stay.
Right. So why would I do it for a potty?
So then I'm thinking just eliminate, not even for feeding, not even give it to her.
Yeah, so here's the thing, you know, we've had a lot of bad thoughts tonight with everybody, you know, she doesn't care. You know, she's just like indifferent to the accidents. Sometimes she goes, you know, I have to take her or she won't go. The reason why it's like this is because you've created an environment. Again, this is another situation where we create an environment where it's optional to go. So it's just like, listen, it's all right if I shit my pants or piss and shit my pants. She's going to clean it up, and there's really no like consequence for that. Now, the only consequence you give her is a negative, meaning that she has access to this phone. You say, well, if you want it, you have to go sit on the potty, or I'm going to take it away. So then she sits, but she, you know, but with all the other access she has to it, it's not a high desire because she can have it at other intervals throughout the day. And she's really ruling the roost there because now she only says she's got to go to the bathroom just to get out of a non-preferred activity. So she's really got everybody on lock, and at school too. So what we have to do here is we have to look at a couple of things. It's not that she doesn't care. She's just queen in training over there, just like one of the other children that we talked to the mom about tonight. The thing here is that if we know the high desire thing is the iPad, then it has to be exclusive to potty training. Now, I know you use it for other things. The idea here is when we have a reward system, it's not something that's supposed to be the reward forever. It's a reward that's supposed to fade as they have mastery of the skill. So for example, if I was using it for sitting and attending, which you said is one of the reasons you use it for, then that's great. And we build out that time, and eventually she needs to sit and attend without needing a reward to do it. The only way she's going to do that is if we fade that out. Now, the same thing with feeding. Now, with feeding, I don't do that. I actually like food to be the reinforcer for eating, right? So it's very like in the same family. I'd rather give her a high preferred bite for bite to get her to eat versus giving her an iPad. So like what I like to do is just really compartmentalize. First, I have to make my priority. If my priority is like, listen, I got to get out of these diapers, this sucks. And she's had so much skill with it in the past that I would rather, if I'm looking at like, right, I always do this with Juliana. When I have goals for her, I look at all the goals and then I set them in priority order and I pick the easiest ones to land first. And potty training, I'll always say is one of the easiest for you guys because it's very clean. Either I'm shitting my pants or I'm shitting in the toilet. So there's no in between, right? And with her, even more so because she's had the skill of peeing in the past, she just needs to get back into that rhythm again. Just like the laws of behavior. If I had a behavior and lost it, regression is not death. It's actually a part of life for all of us. We just got to figure it. If we've had it once, we can always get it back. And if you don't believe that, studies prove that. So if you're unsure of putting your thoughts behind that, I'm telling you that it's true. So knowing that about her, knowing she has this skill, and knowing about rewards because she does get ABA, maybe we're just not using the rewards effectively if we're focusing on potty training. And the idea here, eventually the reward for them going is to not have to stop what I'm doing and clean up the mess and change my clothes. The reward for them will be like it is for us, like, oh, when I go, it's so much easier. Life is so much easier when I go there. And I won't have to rely on the iPad forever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what should I, I just trying to see
the
what
steps
should I be focused.
The iPad, if we're going to use the iPad as her 10, meaning like she do anything for access to it, that means that she does not get it for any other program you're running. I always say too, when we're running programs, whether it's stopping eloping, problem behaviors, picky eating, potty training, we pick a major and we minor in the rest. Unless it's like some type of medical issue where the feeding needs to be addressed first, then work on that and then wait to potty train. or come up with another 10 for potty training that she can't have access to. You can't use the same reward and interchange it for different programs, because that's why she doesn't give a shit. She's like, I don't care. I'll just shit myself because I get it later.
And how do I become for her to be able to, her requesting that me keep taking her every 30 minutes?
The first part of potty training, right? We're trying to teach her automaticity. Automaticity is the process of doing something without having to think about it. That's how you and I go to the bathroom, right? We feel nature call at the slightest hints, because we've had so many reps of feeling her call, or him, or whatever you want to call nature, right? That we just get up and go. She needs those reps to get to that place. So in the beginning, I don't want you to shit on that part of the process. That's what all children need. First, they need to know pee and poop go here. She knows that. She just doesn't want to do it. And it's optional in your home. So that's why she's not doing it. Then after that, I need to tell her when to go. I got to get a lot of reps in of telling her when to go. ABA center wouldn't have an issue with taking her to go. It's the accents that are the problem. And if she's not motivatable, because what you're using to motivate her, you're using for 10 other things, that's going to change. Because if all I'm asking ABA to do is take her every hour, they'll do that. They just don't want to have to change piss and shit diapers. The only reason that that's happening is because she's just not motivated to want to do this. I have no reason to want to do this. You guys are like, well, yeah, what?
At ABA, she's there most of the day.
No, I understand. But we have a situation where the child has no desire to want to do it. So if I can create that desire, like on a weekend, get it really, like even like a weekend and a few nights during the week, I'd be like, all right, here's underwear, here's her iPad, this is the schedule, and this is how we're doing it.
So I have to tell her this is the schedule.
You're going to tell school this is the schedule. In the beginning with her, you're going to put it right back on a schedule. So you're going to look at like your toilet training data, if you already know it. Like I know if I take her every hour, she won't have an accident. Right?
Got you.
So like whatever that number is, hour, 45 minutes, 2 hours, whatever. If I do that, I want to set the terms with the iPad. Guess what? I make the iPad disappear for a couple of days completely. I want to create high desire at this time. In the meantime, you could start practicing just getting her to sit when you ask without any bullshit. That's another thing too. If she's giving you any type of shit about sitting, that's got to be fixed. And you're doing it backwards. I like positive reinforcement than negative. You take away the phone if she doesn't sit. I want to give her a reward for sitting. Make it worth her while. Increase desire to want to do something that's not a preferred. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That could be a little chip. It could be a sticker. It could be a piggyback ride, a balloon, whatever you think, just to ask her to sit, just to do some reps with you sitting. We want to get her up to 3 to 5 minutes, enough for a pee or poop to come out. Then after a couple of days, guess what? I found the iPad. And every time you pee on the iPad, you get 5 minutes. And every time you poop, you get 30. Now its desire is high because I haven't had it for a couple of days. I haven't had it for any other program. And I'm going to do anything to have it.
Gotcha. Okay, so eliminate completely the iPad, and the only way to go to the potty at right now, the only reward it will be giving her something high desirable that it's not the iPad.
There's two different programs you got to run. One is she's a little resistant to sit when you ask her to sometimes. So we've got to fix that. So we want to make it so every time she goes to sit, she gets a little something worth the ask of sitting. 10 times the ask of sitting, right? Then there's 10 times the ask of elimination, which is bigger for her. So the idea here is like just a little something for sitting, could be a little snack, Hershey Kiss, whatever. And then once you get that done, you want to do that for a couple of days just to get the desire high for the iPad, because now it's going to be gone. Practice the reps for sitting. And then when you represent it to her, these are the terms. And then once you get her consistently going, is she having poop accents at school or no?
Yeah, she does.
Yeah.
The poop, I cannot get her. I cannot get her. We actually did 3 times and she actually accepted. She's gone poop, but we it's because we caught her like, oh, I think she has to go.
Yeah, and that's what you're gonna have to do. You know, and ABA is I know ABA is year round, is that right?
Yes. So but she's gonna be now
pull her for a couple of even if we have to pull her for a couple of days just to get some more reps in with poop, if she's doing it while she's at ABA, well, you'll be surprised. We get her back into the routine of this and create a reward system for it. She may surprise you with this. But even if we have to hold her home for a couple of days just to get some more poop reps in so that we can send her in with underwear and a schedule and her reward, everyone's going to want to see her potty trained. They're not going to want to potty train your children. That's another myth. Everyone, I'll just leave it for the school to do it. School's gonna be like, fuck you. I ain't potty train your kid. You got to potty train your kid and then get some momentum and then we'll take it from there. That's what school will do.
Okay, the school will not train. The school will not help.
No, they will help. An already momentum moving process. They will not, I'm telling you, very rarely I've ever seen a school, they don't have the bandwidth for it. I can tell the school's not down for it. They're already telling you, bring her in pull-ups. They want no part of this. And I'm not, oh, it sucks. Shouldn't they want to do this? You can have that fight in your head all you want. In the meantime, I'm still buying pull-ups. So let me just solve for this. No one's going to teach her faster than me anyway. Nobody's going to be as effective as me anyway, because nobody knows her like I do. And you're spending the most time with her. You got her on the weekends. You got her on holidays. You got her at nighttime. You can do this. It's just a little bit of a tweak in application here.
Why
But
she goes with me? Why she goes more with my husband? She has no resistance, and then with me she does. Like
Why do
she
you think
gives
that
me a
is?
hard time.
I love it. Why do you think that is?
Because I'm more firm, or
are you?
Than my husband? Yeah, I'm more strict than my husband.
So
I
you're
feel,
saying,
or I'm not
she's
like
more likely to go. Is she more likely to go with you, or she's more likely to go with your husband?
With my husband.
Why do you think that is? You think that the reason why she's more likely to comply with your husband is because you're firmer?
Yeah, because I'm more firm, and then because I'm more strict than my husband. My husband's more like lovely, and I'm more like
he
straight
makes
to the
it
point.
like fun. He makes it like fun to go in there.
Yeah, probably.
That's kind of nice, right? So that's kind of cool that he can get her to do this and it makes it fun for her. That's something for you to think about with your approach, but I don't think that's what this is at all. I believe there have been times where you've told her to go and she didn't have to. She whined and complained and you didn't force it.
So I have to force her to do it?
Not force her. It's not the idea. Like, we got to get neutrality first. With dad, it's neutral. With you, it's not. So if I have to reward her to get the same neutrality, and then start looking at my energy around it. It's really interesting that anytime dad will ask her, she'll go, study dad. What are you doing, dad, that I'm not doing? That's number one. Number two is, let's be real here. As firm as you are, this is why I love my program, and this is why you now have to be verbal to be potty trained, is because behavior never lies. When I'm a person who says something, my kids know I mean it. One time, you do it one time where you tell them that they have to do something and you don't see it through, that's learned. And they're going to be banking on that one time that you said it and I didn't have to do it. And I'm not talking about like forcing or dragging her. My point is that there have been opportunities, whether it just be potty training or something else, that even if you've been firm with her, that you might have let her not have to fulfill whatever it was you asked. And now she's interpreted what you say isn't what you mean every time. And I wonder with dad, that's what I'm saying, study the fuck out of dad, that maybe even though dad's loving and sweet, what he says, he means.
Yeah.
This is thought problems. Like, you have these thoughts about you. Like, it's even going to change the energy of you even wanting to take her when you think she doesn't care. That sucks, right? How does it feel to think she doesn't care?
I have no idea, because I'm more firm. That's what, like, I'm more firm. I'm like straightforward.
No.
Like,
I'm
let's
talking
go.
about the thought you presented that she doesn't care. How does that feel when you think it? What kind of feelings come up in your body when you think she doesn't care?
I get mad. I get angry.
Yeah. You get firm. And when you're like that, like, really think about the action you're taking to potty train her. Is it going to be the most effective?
No.
Yeah. We just got to change that, mama. Start changing the way we think about our kids. Potty train can be this asshole nightmare experience that I've created, or it'd be like how dad takes her. You get more bees with honey, they say. But And what I say is what I do always. So I don't want
because before she was not, before she was going with new people, and then she stopped going with only with one person. At ABH, she will go only with one person, and the rest of the therapists she will not go.
Yeah, you got to think about all of this, right? You can't just say we have a blanket problem here. Each individual instance is actually its own animal, because you got to think about it. When you have multiple people, some people are going to say and do what they mean, like, right, I'm going to do what I say, and some people aren't. She's learning. I'm going to test. She's like, I hate to even describe it this way, but I describe it this way with my children. I'm an electric fence, and they are like my little cows, my little calves, and they're testing for weaknesses in every spot. I say that about my own children. And it's not like a fault. That's their nature. They want to see how far they can push it. And this is what's happened and why she goes with some people and she doesn't go with others. I've tested the fence, and this one, oh, this one I got to go with. This one now I could fuck around with this one.
Yeah.
That's why I want to create an environment where she just wants to go no matter who takes her, because she's going to get that iPad and she loves that freaking thing.
And eventually she will not even request it anymore. I just don't know the process.
Idea is eventually what happens is we start to fade the support of it. So what you're always thinking about fading whenever you present a reward. So the idea is naturally she's going to start seeing the value in going. She's like, oh shit, this is so much easier. I don't have to stop and get my diaper changed. I don't have to clean up the floor. I don't have to deal with this. I don't have to stop what I'm doing. I just get up and go and I come right back. That's the reward that you and I have built into it. That's the reward that Juliana here has built into going to potty. It's so much better to could go in the toilet because I don't have to clean up the mess. I don't have to stop what I'm doing for even more extended period of time. That reward becomes natural. And then you can take the iPad and bring it back to using it for others' life skills. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Was that helpful?
Yes, it was helpful.
All right, great. Keep me posted.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, that's a wrap for Potty Power. I hope tonight was helpful. I know there was like a ton of questions I didn't get to. I've potty trained children and adults, you name it. That's what my program's all about. We don't just do potty train too. We get potty training done fast, then we work on communication, picky eating, problem behavior, elopement, you name it. So link is in the chat. You have until midnight tonight to grab it at the special price, as well as getting 5 months in the program instead of 3. You're also going to get a private session with me. Lots of goodies. It is fabulous. I'd love to have you. I hope tonight was helpful. Good night, everybody.